There was this crazy statistic that really hit home for me. Did you know that 50% of all people in the workforce in the entire country feel like they can't approach their boss if they either need something, need some kind of resourcing, or have some kind of problem? And if you're anything like me in any of the schools that you worked at, no offense principals that I've worked for, but they're always just so super busy. It's like they barely have any time. You finally get the courage to talk to them and they are just like super distracted. And again, this is not a character flaw. I'm not talking junk, but it's like you're trying to ask them about something and their walkie-talkie's going off and another teacher walks up and needs them for something, or like a kid interrupts you, because we know that kids have like no social skills. They just come up and walk up and just interrupt everything that's going on because they think they're the center of the universe. Or the secretary needs to pull them away for something, or there's a fire drill or a meeting or something. And all you need to do is ask them one simple thing, but it's so hard to get their time, to get their attention. It's almost not even worth it. I don't know about you, but I felt helpless sometimes when I wanted something or needed something. So that's what we're going to talk about today, because I believe if we get this right, we're going to make a lot of headway in our classrooms, our schools, and in education as a whole. I'm Jeff Becker, and this is Beyond Academics. Okay, so my background is as a counselor and a teacher. In both situations, I've needed something from my administrator, but it's not always an easy thing to do, to ask for something. Either you feel like they're gonna say no, or you feel like it's hard to get their attention, or you feel like it's hard to get them to see your thing as important as you do. So I got a couple tips and tricks that might help you out with that. All right, so the first one is this, is that you need to align your goals. And so you have your goal as a teacher, whatever it is, whether that's to increase student achievement, increase certification tests for you CTE teachers out there, or if you're an elementary counselor or a middle school or high school counselor and you're trying to either increase the overall graduation rate, or if you're an elementary teacher, is reduce the amount of students that are in crisis mode that need to come to see you. So all you need to do is figure out a way to align your goal to your principal's goal. And here's what I mean. If you think about it like a Venn diagram, you have your goals, right? The thing that you want to accomplish, and then your principal's goals. So all you have to do with that Venn diagram is figure out where those two things overlap, because chances are you're going to be able to figure that out. So let's say you're a counselor and it's the graduation rate. Well, of course your principal's going to want to increase the graduation rate. If you're a counselor and you have a lot of students that are in crisis and that's your goal, whether it's a SMART goal or an informal goal, or let's say you're an ELA teacher and you want something and you feel like that's going to help you to increase the amount of students that are passing state standardized tests, okay? Your principal probably wants the same thing. So when you go to talk to your principal, make sure that you bring up the fact that your goal and their goal are kind of like the same goal. So here's the practical tool or tip. When you finally get that 5 or 10 or 15-minute meeting with your principal, make sure it's on the tip of your tongue. Make sure it's even rehearsed. Don't feel stupid. Write it down if you need to. If anything, your principal is going to be happy that you came prepared. But you want to lead with that. You want to say, Mrs. or Mr. Principal, I know that your goal is to get more of these students in my 7th grade ELA class to pass the XYZ state standardized test. Boom, right away you have their attention, because they're already guessing the next thing that you're going to say, and you're going to say it. You're going to say something along the lines of, well, I think I found a solution for that, and here's what it is. And then you just lay it out for them in plain language and very concise language. Just get right down to it. Okay, so you've talked about their goal, you've talked about your goal, you talked about where they overlap. Now this is where you really bring it home. So this is where you got to get kind of brave. Here's an illustration that really made sense to me when I thought about this sort of thing, is that, have you ever got caught up watching like a YouTube ad for way longer than you thought you should, or you finally snapped out of it and you're like, whoa, did I just watch that infomercial for like 7 minutes? Or if it's one of those infomercials, if you're an 80s or 90s babies, you remember those infomercials about like juice tigers or some kind of crazy thing, but it hooked you and you watched it for like 5, 6, 7 minutes and you couldn't even figure out why. Well, here's the deal, because they did two things. They casted vision and they had a call to action. So that's what you need to do. You need to explain to your principal how this thing is going to benefit you in the classroom, benefit them as the principal, and then tell them directly what you want. And don't be afraid to rehearse this thing either, because that's where it could get kind of awkward, is you're just gonna have to ask. And it works the same way if you're having a problem, whether that's like a problem with a parent, a problem with somebody in your department, a problem with a certain group of students, is just go ahead and say, Mr. or Mrs. Principal, this is what I need, this is how much it costs if it's something that costs money, or I really think this is going to help, this is what it is, this is how we buy it, can we please do or get XYZ? And this three-step process even goes beyond that. If you're having some kind of problem in school and you really want to go to your higher up, whether that's your assistant or vice principal, or the principal themselves, or a district member, or a director of a program, it works the same way. Here's what we know. Principals are super busy. And so if you get your thoughts in order and you get all your ducks in a row at the beginning of the thing, and you really come to the principal with a solution, something that's fast, they're gonna have a much easier time getting you that thing if they A, see the value in it, and B, they feel like it's not taking a ton of their time. If you have any other tips or tricks, go ahead and put them in the comments below. I would love to hear about them. And if you have any other ideas for episodes, I'd love to hear that kind of stuff too. I only wanna make the content that is useful for you. So what are some of your biggest problems as a teacher or as a principal or as an educator or ed leader? I'd love to hear more about it and to kind of add value to your day with this YouTube channel. Well, that's all we've got. Make sure you subscribe, share these videos, and comment below. I'm Jeff Becker, and this is Beyond Academics.